Hi guys, welcome to the blog, part 2. So this is part 2 from part 1. So the scams in, when I first hit Manila, the taxi van scam, and the Great Mall of Asia, on his way to the Great Mall of Asia scam. So everywhere you go it's a scam. I came to the airport in Manila as soon as I actually get off the plane and I walk out onto the streets. There's a taxi van trying to scam me. Walk straight, walk straight into the drugs. One of them to a young lady. Managed to get to my hotel. Now I'm here. Tricycle drops me off at the back of this big white building. Jumps in this taxi. Gets into the Great Mall of Asia. I'm at the Great Mall of Asia now. And so I'm at the Great Mall of Asia. And I paid this guy his 1,000 pesos. Like I said in the last video, wasn't very happy at all. Could have been very dangerous. And anyway, so now I'm here in the Great Mall of Asia. I'm looking for the friends. So I'm walking around looking for the two friends. And my phone's ringing like mad, and I managed to, I'm pressing the wrong one, the right one. And yeah, I'm here in the Great Mall of Asia. No, you're not. You're lying. This is the two friends. I said, no, I'm here. I'm here in the Great Mall of Asia. Took a picture, sent it to him. And I told them where I was, near a bookstore. And they said, we're at the bookstore. I thought, well, I'm at the main gate in the Great Mall of Asia. Well, that's where we are, we're at the bookstore. And it was something to this, and it got a little bit difficult. Oh, we're going back home, we know you're not here. We know you're lying, we know you're not even here in the Philippines. So after all the pictures I've sent, and telling them I'm actually here in the Philippines, and they're about 4 or 5 ladies, girls, probably 18-year-old students, young ladies. And I went, Miss, can you tell me where this bookstore is? And I told her the name of the bookstore. Oh, there's many bookstores here, sir. And when I actually came into the Great Mall of Asia, the guards were all here with shotguns. And I went, sir, can you tell me where the main gate of the main door of the Great Mall of Asia is, or the main gate? Oh, there's many main gates of the Great Mall of Asia, sir. I thought, wow, I don't know where I am. So I'm walking around and I asked these girls, I'm outside this cafe and I'm on the phone. And I'm asking all these girls that's going into the cafe, Miss, do you know where this place is? And I told her the name of it. Oh, no, sir, they didn't know. And I thought, well, that's it. I've rushed here to the Great Mall of Asia, and that's it. The friends have gone. And the phone rung, and I told them where there was. They said, wait there, because I sent a picture. Managed to take a picture, managed to send a picture. And they said, wait there. And they're only round the corner. So I had a little walk around, just because I was bored, and then I'm stood there outside this cafe, and it was a tap on the shoulder, and there was. Now, I cut a long story short, but I might blog this in another blog, Great Mall of Asia. I'm cutting it short, and I'm going to go to another scam. So I'll actually chat about this scam. Just give me a moment. Right, so I'm actually going to head straight for Cavite, more or less. Right, so I'm in the Great Mall of Asia. I've met the friends, we've been for lunch, we've had a cup of coffee. Now we get a taxi back. Right, so we get a taxi back to my hotel in Pasay City. Don't ask me whereabouts in Pasay City. Very, very main road with a flyover over the top. Don't know. It looked like a bit of a rundown part of town, a poor side of town. So it was quite a poor side of town, and that's where I was. Anyway, so I got the two friends, and they said, "Oh, you're too far away from us. You know, you would be better moving from Pasay City." I said, "Well, I'm actually going to Negros soon. I'm actually flying to Negros, and I'm going to meet a friend in Negros." "Well, you'd be better coming to our place, you know, this is not a good place. You're a long way from us, you know, we're friends, you're a long way from us, you're a long way from the shops. You'd be better actually coming with us and we'll find you a cheaper hotel." So I thought, oh, okay, sounds good to me. So it's a bit hectic, so I'm rushing about all the time. So get the taxi, goes back to my hotel, goes in the hotel, took the two friends up into the hotel, up the stairs into the hotel, and there's two girls, two nice girls in the hotel. I said, "Hi miss, I'm leaving." I says, "Can you give me my bill?" In fact, I'd already paid for the hotel, right? So I'd paid for the hotel in advance, all paid for before I even got there. You know, I didn't book it, then get there and pay for it. I paid for it in advance in England. And I'm just listening for music, because if any music comes on, copyrights. So what happened was, they said, "Sir, do you know these two ladies?" I says, "Yes, they're the Facebook friends." I did not exactly know them, so that's quite a big danger. You know, you might not think it's a danger, but you know, if you were thinking with this, you're okay. Don't think with this. Think with this. That's to you guys. Girls actually do think with this. So you know, what happened was, "Do you know these girls, sir? These ladies, sir?" I says, "Well, the Facebook friends, yeah, I know them, but not really. So not really. So that can be very dangerous, and it's up to you whether you go with the two girls or not. Just remember, you don't know where you're going. You don't know the girls. You only know them on Facebook." So yeah, I knew them, but not really. So, you know, they seemed to be very nice ladies, which there was. They turned out to be quite nice ladies. Anyway, so we jumps on. I gets all my stuff. We jump into a taxi, sorry. So we got a taxi from the Great Mall of Asia to my place. Now, we're off to Cavite. So, we're going to Cavite. And it were quite a way away actually. And what happened was, got all my stuff in back, headed to Cavite. Went to an hotel in Cavite, got to Cavite, and we headed to an hotel in Cavite. Now this hotel in Cavite, it was 2,800 pesos. 2,800 pesos a night. And I thought, wow, that's expensive. You know, I'm on a budget here. I'm here now. I think I was here a month. Were I here a month? I was here a month. The first time I came to the Philippines, I was here a month. I thought, that's expensive. You know, I've saved up 2 years for this trip to the Philippines. I'm not a rich guy, I work, I'm a gardener, whatever I do. So I'm not a rich guy, I've got bills to pay in England, you know, and I've saved and saved and saved. You know, I think I saved 50 quid a week, and managed to save 50 quid a week, and maybe a little under, sometimes a little over. And it took me 2 years to pay for this, to come to the Philippines. So I thought, wow, I said, that's expensive. It was across from Aya Mall in Cavite. And I went, wow, that's expensive. And we went back to the slums. and we found this hotel. It were an hotel, and it was quite a run-down hotel, and it was in Merlino, and I can't remember the name of the hotel. Hotel, right, smack across from the hotel, Jellybees in Merlino. So we're in Merlino in Cavite, and I've got the two friends with me, and we found an hotel 1,000 pesos a night. Now, when we got to this hotel, this taxi driver, he'd run us from the Great Mall of Asia, past the city, and then he'd run us to this hotel across from the Ayala. Then we found this other hotel, so he'd done a bit of running about. And I can't remember what the fare was, it might have been something like 4,000 pesos, 3,000 pesos. And he said, "Sir, can you give me a little extra?" He says, "'Cause I've run you from the..." And he told me what he'd done, where he'd run me, and I knew he had. And I said, "Yeah, okay," and I gave him 1,000 pesos extra. And he went, "Thank you," and nice guy, but I'm sure if the ladies was not with me at the time, I would have got scammed. And they never turned the meter on. They never ever turned the meter on. And white taxi drivers, the first question they'll ask is, "I say, is this your first time in the Philippines?" And I always say, no, I've been here. I always say I've been here 3 times if I get in a white taxi. So they know I actually know the score, but they still try it on anyway, you're a foreigner. So I got this hotel, and it was 3,000, it was 1,000 pesos a night. I think I paid 2,000 pesos. I had to pay X amount of money, so it came to 1,000 pesos, or it might have been something like 1,200 pesos. And I thought, well, I'll just pay, X amount of money to get me 1,000 pesos. And the girls went home, and I went upstairs into my room. The girls came and looked at the room, and the girls went back into Merlino, to the mamas and their own house. And this is where it actually gets quite dangerous, Merlino. Right, let me look. I might just cut this video a little bit short. So I want to chat about something else. So gangs. Now, from scams to gangs, so now we're actually going to gangs, and I've chat about these gangs in Merlino, in Cavite, and they're quite dangerous. They're not quite dangerous, they kill you, right? You can easily be killed in Cavite. And I've chatted to people that live in Cavite, and this is exactly what the people say. "Oh, really, sir? No, I live in Cavite." And I said, "You live in Merlino, Cavite?" "No, sir." I said, "Do you live in the slums?" "No, sir." "Whereabouts do you live in Cavite?" "Oh, I live in such and so." I says, "Yeah, that's a really nice place where you live. Your hotel's got a swimming pool." I says, "Merlino is where the slums are." And the guys make out, but nothing, there's no shootings, there's no killings, there's no drugs. Quite a lot of people I've chatted from Cavite make out, it's a wonderful place, and nothing ever happens, and it's where the angels live. Don't believe a lot of what the people tell you, right? Because Merlino, Cavite, Manila is a very dangerous place. Right, let me look. So, what happened? So, I'm actually here in Cavite, and the girls go home, and the next day the girls come back to my hotel, and one of the girls is now my girlfriend. And like I said, I never made it to Negros. Never made it to Negros. I got a girlfriend in Manila. So, I got the girlfriend in Manila. She went back home at night. So, we had a walk around the shops, a walk around Molino. I liked it, but wow, it was too hot, very, very hot, too polluted, too much traffic. So, I went to Jollibee's every day, twice a day. I went to Jollibee's to eat food. Not normally. I wouldn't normally go to a place like that. In England, I never go out. I always stop in. If I go out in England, I do go to normally a nice cafe at least once a month, once every 2 months. So we go out, take me washing, and walk down into Cavite, and I go to a gun range and I have a look at this gun range, and we're going to Isla Mall. So what we do a little bit of shopping, and I go to book a ticket. So I actually go to book a ticket, in just round the corner basically. So I go into the market and I go to book this ticket, and I said, Miss, I don't like Cavite whatsoever. I do not like Cavite. I'm ready to move away from Cavite. I don't like the slums. Just a bad place. It's not very nice. It's polluted. It's very, very hot. The place where I am in Cavite, not a nice place. I know in Cavite, a few of you guys say it's quite a nice place, and I know that for sure. Of course, I know Filipino people that rent places out in Cavite that work there, and I've seen the videos. Really nice places in Cavite, where I was in the slums, not very nice. So I'm actually here now, and we're going to. I think we went to Ayala. So me and the two girls, girlfriends, she's about 20-year old, and yes, she's a beautiful girl. So I've got a girlfriend, and then there's an older one, an older friend, and we go to the Isla Mall. Walk around the Isla Mall, and we get something to eat. Come back, go back to the hotel, go across to Jollibee's, get some coffee, and we get some food. And I said, is there anywhere to walk around here? It's all traffic and it's all polluted. It was driving me mad. I walk 10, 20 miles every day in England. I walk all over the countryside, I walk in the forest, I walk in the woods. I love the nature. Now I'm here in this city, and it's driving me absolutely mental. The noise, the pollution, driving me mental. I don't like the place whatsoever. Very, very dangerous place. Very dangerous place. So what happens is, I go around the corner to book a ticket, and the ticket's cheap. And what I did is, I thought, well, I'll get one tomorrow. So I got all the write-outs. I've got the piece of paper, the flight details, an hotel where I could actually go to. I think this was just a ticket. And as I remember, I weren't looking for an hotel. I was going to wait till I got there to get an hotel or a room. And as I remember, I just got the ticket, so there were the flight dates. I didn't. And then the girlfriend went, oh no, she didn't want me to leave. She didn't want me to leave. Okay, she didn't want me to leave Cavite. She wanted me to stay there. And I says, I can't stay in a place like this. At night, wow, it was mega, mega hot. First time in the Philippines, mega hot. It was just a crazy place to be, So I booked the second, I go again to book a ticket. Now the ticket's gone up, and it's a lot dearer. And I said, okay, miss, I'll leave it. And then the day after, went to get another ticket. Same, still very, very dear. And a pastor friend of mine, which is now passed away, God bless, who lives in Cavite. He's passed away. He passed away, I think, last week, not very, very long ago, so God bless her. And I used to go to church when I was in Cavite. So I started to go to church with the girlfriend and the other friend, because the girlfriend is a very wow, her voice. She's a really good singer, and she sings in church. So I went to church more or less, I think 3 or 4 days a week, and not always go to church. And I chatted to the pastor, and I said I'd love to see the volcanoes while I'm actually here in the Philippines. Oh, there's a beautiful volcano here in Tagaytay. Right, I'll cut this video, guys. Please like, please subscribe, please share the videos. Please help supporting the way of Adela. Right, we need the support. So, I'm actually going to chat about the gangs of Cavite. So the next video, the follow on from this will be, unless I do make another video, then I have to make another video, right? This is number 2 to number 1, don't forget. So that's about it, guys. I'm going to chat in the next video. I chat in the next video about the gangs in Cavite, the gangs in Manlia, and don't forget, like I said, God bless. Tourists come to Boracay, so murdered in Boracay, 23-year-old girl just murdered this week here in the Philippines. God bless. She went missing for 2 days. They actually found the body. I won't go into the details, tells you all the nasty details on Facebook. And like I said, God bless. She got found in an abandoned chapel in Palawan or Boracay? Boracay. I'm talking to Jovelyn. She's just ignoring me. So I don't know why you ignore like you do. So, like I said, murdered. And last year, 2024, she got murdered. There were another murder, and that were a YouTuber. And before that, there's quite a lot of murders going off here in the Philippines. God bless President Duterte. Now, update on President Duterte. Managed to see a little bit of it on the internet yesterday. And what happens, it looks like Donald. Right, guys, so the President of the United States is actually sending troops to Ireland. As I've said, Ireland is Amsterdam, and he's going to actually, as far as I know, he's going to free the president, right, of the Philippines, because there's a legal term what happened to President Duterte, right? Basically was kidnapped. They never read his rights, and these court proceedings, they dismissed this. So the High and Mighty Court dismissed this. But by the sounds of it, what I saw online, right, the President of the United States is not very happy, and he's sending a plane to pick President Duterte up, if I've got this correctly. Have a great day, take care, please like, please subscribe, please share the videos. Right, guys, we're in the mango wood. I've got a red ant. So, fire ants, the crazy ants here in the Philippines. So now you can look, you can see what they've been doing. They've dug all the soil from the side, and all of these bananas, this banana plant, they've cut it and stripped it into strips. And that's what they've done, look, they've put the green part on the inside, they put all this round to strengthen it. you know, to stop it falling. And all underneath there, if you watch the previous videos and the previous short videos, guys, you'll actually see look, oh, I've got another fire ant on my foot. Them fire ants pack a punch. So that's it, look, how to make a fire pit. Not exactly sure, you know, sometimes they do dig underground, but this one, you know, this fire pit is actually, you know, all the grass, guys, you can remember all this grass, it was on the floor down there, and what they've done is they've put the grass on, and it looks like they're putting the soil on top, and it's to stop it burning, because they don't want it burning. So that's it, look, banana plant. So it looks like banana plant. So to stop it burning, you know, they put soil on top. And that's the pit, look. There's a little pit. There's a trench. And that trench is where they'll light the fire. And like I said, all this with the soil on top, it's actually to stop the wood from burning, because they want to make charcoal. So that's how to make charcoal here in the Philippines. So how nice is that? Absolutely spectacular. So you can see, guys, it's quite an ingenious process. You know, it is quite an ingenious process. So that's the process, look. And it looks like they're going to actually finish off tomorrow. There's another ant. There's a lot of ants here, let me move. So that's it, quite ingenious. So that's the fire pit. I've had to move. I've had about 20 fire ants on my feet. So my feet now are absolutely killing. What they do, these red fire ants, wow. Well, I've just got another one, just a moment, let me get shut up. Right guys, so that's the fire pit. And these fire ants are in between my toes, biting me. So I'm sure my feet are going to be quite swelled up when I get back. So that's it, look. You know, quite ingenious fire pit. Right, I'm going to go back to the house. Have a great day, take care.